Now, the worldwide success of film franchises such as The Matrix and John Wick have helped make Keanu Reeves one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. But today, he's talking about a passion away from the screen. His first ever novel, The Book of Elsewhere, based on his successful comic book series and written in collaboration with the New York Times best-selling author China Miéville. Morning to you both. It's so lovely to have you here.
Good
Did that
morning.
sound good, all of that?
Thanks
Was
for
that a good intro?
Yeah, it's really awesome.
These people sound fascinating.
They were very interesting. You were both really, I feel, destined to work together in many respects because you were both admirers of each other's work, and suddenly a moment came about where you thought this might actually happen.
Yeah, we had an opportunity to do a novelization. It's a good early morning word. Novelization.
That's it.
Of the Berserker comic book. And my hope, my first choice was to, my dream was to work with China Miéville and to see if, if you would do the novel. And so we reached out to you, and what happened?
So we had this lovely serendipity, this odd moment. So I received this very weird email saying, Keanu Reeves wants to work with you. And I'm thinking, well, it's a typical Thursday, And then, so we sort of talked about maybe chatting. And I got a message saying, well, unfortunately, Keanu's in Berlin at the moment. And as chance would have it, I was in Berlin. So I was like, I'll be there in a minute. And so it was, as you say, it was meant to be.
It was completely meant to be. But what you loved the most in that first moment was you arrived with a notebook. You'd done your research, you'd done your homework, China, and you liked that.
No, yes, yes. I mean, we were talking about, potentially working together and create a work of art. And so for me, to meet China and see that he was taking it seriously and, had prepared questions about, how would we work together? Did we see the same kind of process or have an affinity for what we would do? And so for me, I just was really honored and grateful to have that meeting. And, it was a good afternoon.
It was meant to be. This union then came about, and it's based on this character. He's 80,000 years old.
Yeah.
He dies a lot, but is reborn again.
Yeah.
And really, it goes from there. Obviously, then you took that on board, China, and managed to create this incredible novel. And you described it once as being able to play with someone else's toys as such, because this is what's inside your imagination, and then you can bring it to life.
It's exactly that. We had these really lovely conversations where Keanu sort of laid out, like, his parameters for the way these characters worked, but then all this other stuff you can do what you want with, et cetera, et cetera. So we worked very carefully and closely together to make sure that the story worked for both of us, and it just kind of went from there.
And you took a moment to decide even to do the project, China, because you wanted to do Keanu's work justice in your eyes.
Absolutely. And people have said, like, oh, so you immediately said yes. And actually, the opposite was true. Like, we had to, because the stakes are high. You don't want to get halfway down and realise you're the wrong person and everyone's disappointed. So that's exactly why I had the notebook that Keanu's always so nice about, and it was because I was nervous, and I wanted to make sure that we connected together.
Of course. Stephen Fry is quoted on the back of the book here as saying it's a compulsive read, unlike anything else. You were quite emotional when you read the final piece.
Yes, I mean, China was very generous and collaborative, and I guess we worked on it for a little over a year.
Yeah, about a year.
Yeah. And so to have this hope, ambition, dream, and then to go through such a wonderful process to try and, create it, and then to actually see it and hold it in your hand and...
That's my copy.
New book smell. I love new book smell.
And it helps that they made such a beautiful edition and pink edge pink for at least some of the copies. So.
Yeah.
It was just a dream come true, and it really is. I mean, anyway, I find it very moving.
Yeah, and it's because it's come such a long way, and here we are. Were you a fan of Keanu on the big screen, China?
Absolutely, and not just, I mean, obviously you grow up in the 80s and 90s and you see all these wonderful, action films, but also I always admired the way Keanu was also sort of taking on projects that were also thoughtful. So films like A Scanner Darkly or The Matrix or whatever, you get all the kind of cool fight scenes, but you also get some really interesting ideas and feelings, and that was... So that it was lovely to sort of tap into that kind of way of thinking.
Is it bad for me to say I loved Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
No,
or...
that's awesome. That's most
I also
excellent.
love that. We're talking about all the wonderful Point Break, Speed. But The Matrix is the one I think you feel really changed your life in many ways.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Artistically and personally, to go on that Wachowski, the directors and writers' vision, was really an extraordinary experience. And it's been, you know, you hope that people like what you do. And it's very special for me to just, over the years, keep meeting people where they feel like The Matrix has kind of changed their lives in a positive way.
I can't believe we're talking 30 years ago. These are the movies of my youth. I mean, how can that be? That amount of time, and they're so relevant still and brilliant, which says a great deal about how they were written and put together. What a delight it is to see that you both, a union clearly that was meant to be. The book is brilliant. It's the book of Elsewhere, and it is out now.